Hello, all. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. In today's video, I'll show you how to create a primary ledger and a legal entity, and I'll also show you how to associate this legal entity to the primary ledger. So, going back to our spreadsheet, which contains the list of steps to be executed from an implementation project perspective. So, in our previous videos, we have seen like how to create the chart of account structure, calendar, segment values, and as we have all the required setups which are required to create a primary ledger in the current video, I'll proceed towards creating of a primary ledger. So this is the task under which we can create the primary ledger. So first you need to be selecting setup and maintenance, and then task, manage implementation projects, select your project which will have your required offerings, and then now you can search for your task. Manage primary ledgers, click on this, and you want to create a new primary ledger, so click on plus button, create. So my new primary ledger is Reliance INR ledger. You can just say Reliance INR ledger, and what is the chart of accounts? So the chart of accounts, whatever we have created is Reliance underscore COA. So let me select that. Reliance. So this being a testing instance, we have a lot of chart of accounts created by different people. Yeah. Oops. Reliance. Yeah. This is the chart of accounts. And then accounting calendar. We have created an accounting calendar by name Reliance calendar. Yeah, this is the calendar which you have created. Currency is INR. And accounting method, Oracle has provided the seated subledger accounting method, standard accrual for China, standard accrual for with encumbrances. So I'll select the standard accrual. And in future, if you want to customize your SLA rules, so you can copy or like you can get into the standard accrual subledger accounting method, copy it and create your own version of the subledger accounting method and come back to this particular screen and associate your subledger accounting method. Save and close. So that completes the creation of the primary ledger at a high level, but we have not completed the entire primary ledger setup. So the next setup is specifying of the ledger options under the particular primary ledger. So select the specify primary ledgers. Specify ledger options is the task. Let me select for this task. Specify ledger options. And then there's already some selected scope. So you can go to task. When you click on go to task, it will ask you to select the scope. So there is some select existing specific selected ledger. So I'll change it to R ledger. Selected. So R ledger is the Reliance. Reliance INR. This is R ledger. So double selecting that, clicking on save and close. So this is our primary ledger, what we have created earlier. And now we need to complete these ledger options. What is the first open period, whether you want January to be the first open period, or you can even select any period. Maybe I can, today we are in August, right? So I'll make say maybe June 19 as my first open period. And number of future enterable periods. As you know, like in a future enterable period, you can create a journals, but you cannot post them. So you can increase that future number, the default value is one. If you want, you can increase it to any number, whatever you want. So I'm just leaving it as is. Subledger accounting method, whatever we have entered during ledger setup. And journal language, we will select it as English. And English. Retained earnings account. This is one of the important mandatory field to be entered for completing of the ledger. So let's say 01 cost center 0000, and my intercompany is I think I should have created an intercompany value of 000. Okay, for the time being, I'll just select 010, and the later point in time, I'll come here and I'll change that. And account retained earnings account. So let me search for that. Description retained. Yeah, this is the retained earnings account. Search for this combination, it will not exist. Okay. And then the other things like cumulative translation adjustment account, default period and trade type, default period average trade type are actually required for your translation. So when I cover the translation topic, I can come back to this particular screen and change these values. As of now, I'm leaving them blank because they are not mandatory unless until you start using the translation functionality. And with regard to balancing, whether you want to enable suspense account, and if you want to enable suspense account, whether you want to enable only for the GA journals or whether you want to enable it for the subledger accounting. I'm just not enabling, and if I enable this, if I enable any of these, you need to specify your default suspense account. Rounding difference account for any rounding differences created by the system. This is the default account system will use if there is any rounding differences. Enable general upload. If you select this particular checkbox, you will see a message that you need to define your upload rules here in your upload management engine. Of course, after enabling this, again you need to enable your general approval at the journal source level as well. And there are a couple of other options like notify when a prior period journal is entered. So today is like August 2nd, and if the July period is still open, I can very well create a journal entry for July period. And in those scenarios, wherever you are entering the journals for the prior period, if you want a user to be notified, then you need to first check this checkbox of notify when prior period journal is entered. Allow mixed statistical and monetary journals in the same journal. If you want to enter both stat as well as the normal journals, you need to check the checkbox. Otherwise, you can leave it blank. So maybe I'm just checking this checkbox. And if you want to use the GL reconciliation functionality, enable this. Otherwise, you can leave it blank. Separate journals by accounting date during journal import. Yes, if during a journal import, if you have any journals which belongs to different accounting date, you can check this checkbox so that your system will create separate journals based on your accounting date. Enabling intercompany accounting. Of course, I want to use an intercompany accounting. Hence, I am checking this checkbox. Run auto reverse after open period. So as soon as you open the period, or program automatic reversal will be automatically triggered if you check the checkbox. And journal reversal criteria. What exactly is the reversal criteria which you want to use? So in the reversal criteria, you specify a couple of options like how do you want your reversal journals to be created, whether it's at the first period of the next month or in the same month and so on. So I'm not selecting anything. Synchronize reversals between primary and secondary ledgers. Of course, you need to check the checkbox so that your reversals, whatever is created in primary ledger, gets pushed to your second ledger. And of course, your accounting and document sequencing. So how do you want to create your document sequencing, whether it's at a ledger level or legal entity level? I say ledger level, and then again you can enforce whether you want to use the document sequencing only for payables or for both payables as well as the receivables. And once you are done this with these ledger options, click on save and close. So that completes the specifying of the ledger options. Still, we have not yet completed the ledger part. We need to again create your legal address and legal entity, and then associate your legal entities to your ledger, and that will complete the ledger process. So go to the next item, which is creating of the legal entity. So for that, first you need to create your legal address. Manage legal address. So you can search for manage legal address. Search for the task. Manage legal address. Click on go to task and create the address. United States. And address name will just make up something 8755 Town and Country Boulevard. City, I'll just say Ellicott City, Maryland, and then zip code to 1043. That's the address, save and close. And now we need to create the legal entity. Manage task is manage legal entity. Again, something else got selected as the scope, so we need to change that. Manage legal entities. Select the scope. So under selected scope, it may require this. Okay. Manage legal entity. Select and add. Apply and go to task. We are trying to create a new legal entity. Hence, I have selected. Oh, sorry, I should not have selected select and add. I think I should have selected create new. cancel this. Manage legal entity. Okay, let me again go back to the task, manage legal entity. Change the selected scope. Create new. Apply and go to task. We are trying to create a new legal entity. So click on plus button. Okay, so go back to, so we have two legal entities, Reliance Communications and Reliance Textiles Inc. So I'll try to create those two legal entities. So this is the name of the legal entity, Reliance Communications. Identifier also, I'll just give the same, Reliance Communications. Start date, date blank, United States. Legal address, the address whatever we have created now. And I want to select the checkbox payroll statutory unit and legal employer for this. And then I don't know what is the CVR number. Just make some number, employee account number. Save and close. That's the first legal entity, Reliance Communications. I'll create one more legal entity which is Reliance Textiles Inc. And then we need to assign the balancing segment values to these legal entities and then assign these legal entities to the ledger. That will be the last step in the ledger setup. It's taking a while. I hope it is saved properly. Let me again click on save. Okay. Let me again click on manage legal entity. So one is Reliance Communications and other one is Reliance Textiles Inc. So again under manage legal entity, change the selected scope. Click on create new because we are again creating one more legal entity, Reliance Textiles Inc. this once again. Okay, so click on plus. Reliance Textiles Inc. Reliance Textiles Inc. Legal address. So I have one more address under Ellicott City. So I'll try to select that legal address for this legal entity. Search. First one. Okay, CVR number, employee account number. Click on save and close. So that completes the creation of the legal entity part, and then we need to assign these legal entities to our primary ledger. So assign legal entity is the task. Still taking a while. And once the legal entities are assigned to the primary ledger, we can complete the ledger setup. Of course, I think before even we do that, we need to assign the balancing segment values to legal entities. So we have two legal entities, Reliance Communications and Reliance Textiles. So I'll assign one balancing segment value to each of these legal entities. So I'll assign a company code of 010 for the Reliance Communications, and then company code of 020 to the Reliance Textiles. Okay, done. It's taking a while, so let me just click on cancel. At least we have one legal entity. I don't know whether it's saved or not, but let's see. Let me stop recording this for a while. Then again, let me come back. Hello all. I can see that both the legal entities are created. Unfortunately, there's a issue with the environment, so I'll show you how to assign these legal entities to the ledger and the completion of the ledger in my next video. Thank you. Thanks for watching my video.